This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa, Internet World, West Alabama. How are we doing today on this Thursday? Welcome in. You're watching The Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com. I, of course, am Joe Gaither. You're checking us out on the Bama Central YouTube channel or right there on my own social media machines at Joe Gaither 6 on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We appreciate everybody who's found me on your own favorite social media machines at Joe Gaither 6. You can always subscribe to the show if you listen to it on podcast platforms, on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or on Amazon. We appreciate everybody who's checking us out on their favorite podcast platforms as well. And we're going to hopefully have a good show today. Have a fun show today. We invite you to drop in your comments, your questions, your queries, or complaints right there on the Joe Gaither 6 Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and we can address those right there and bring them into the show. I've got a list of topics to get into, and we'll just see how far we get into it in about 45 minutes to an hour. We've got Alabama's ice cream truck, full pads for Alabama football on Wednesday. You've got expectations for the scrimmage on Saturday. What are your expectations? I actually watched the Lank documentary today, so I've got thoughts on the Alabama football Lank documentary that was put out, I believe it was last Friday or Saturday was when it was put out on Alabama football's YouTube channel. So there's a lot to get into, the offensive line, and of course everything that we saw yesterday in our 20-25 minutes of practice viewing. But before we get into that, we want to tell you about our friends, Purple Turtle Roofing. They are the most reliable residential roof replacement company in Alabama and Mississippi. Whether it's addressing leaks, storm damage, or general wear and tear, Purple Turtle Roofing is going to be there to deliver exceptional roof repair for your property. Purple Turtle Roofing is the leading expert in local residential roofing solutions, specializing in providing unparalleled service and quality craftsmanship for all your roof replacement needs. Call Dustin Foley and his team today at 877-PT-ROOF-5 for your free roof inspection. That's 877-787-6635 to schedule your appointment, and one of their qualified employees will come check out your roof for free and make sure that you're prepared for any and all of life's storms. You can visit them online as well at www.roofturtle.com. We appreciate Dustin Foley and Purple Turtle Roofing for sponsoring the program. If you want to get in touch and sponsor the program, you can always shoot me a direct message on whatever your favorite platform is. What do we want to start with, though? I've got SEC injury reports. I've got Hey Coach thoughts, Hey Coach announcements, and Alabama CTSN announcements, Alabama's ice cream truck, full pads on Wednesday, scrimmage on Saturday, Lank documentary, offensive line notes, and give me my money. Little memes going around in the SEC. Why don't we start with Hey Coach, as that'll be the easiest and most logistical thing to get into. If you guys listen to Hey Coach, and we did listen to it on Thursday nights when Nick Saban was doing Hey Coach over at Baumhower's Next to Campus, it will still be at Baumhower's Next to Campus with Coach Kalen DeBoer, but it will not be on Thursday nights. It'll be Wednesdays. It's going to be moving to Wednesdays. Coach Kalen DeBoer is going to be there. He will have a player with him as well. What are these all specifics? Okay, Crimson Tide Sports Network. Hey Coach is moving to a new day and time. It's moving to Wednesdays at 6 o'clock. Instead of what was it? Was it 6:30 before? Yeah, it was 6:30 to 8 before. Now it's going to be 6 to 7:30 on Wednesday nights. It's going to be Coach Kalen DeBoer. It's going to be a student athlete, and you're going to have Chris Stewart hosting the festivities. Obviously, you all remember Eli Gold was hosting Hey Coach before his retirement. Now it'll be Chris Stewart along with Kalen DeBoer and a select student athlete. That'll be starting, the first Hey Coach that will air on August 14th. So what is that, next week? Ooh, next Wednesday. That'll be it. Next Wednesday, we will hear Hey Coach for the first time. But Kalen DeBoer's first appearance is going to be the 28th, 2 weeks after that. So 3 weeks from now on August 28th will be Hey Coach, the first Hey Coach edition with Kalen DeBoer. All right, as far as radio broadcasts, if you're listening to the little devices in the stadium, or if you are just driving around while the game is going on, or you are not by a TV, or if you just like to listen to it while watching the TV, obviously you all know the big change for the radio broadcast is going to be Chris Stewart replacing Eli Gold, and he's going to have Tyler Watts doing the color. But this year, instead of Christian Miller down on the sidelines, and they have Christian Miller for the last 2 seasons. Well, and there's been a couple other former players mixed in as well. But instead of Christian Miller this year, they're changing it up. Damian Harris just retired from the NFL. And so Damian Harris is going to be taking over sideline duties this year. So you can let me know your thoughts on the new radio broadcasting team for Alabama football. Chris Stewart, Tyler Watts, and Damian Harris. Personally, I'm very, very excited about Chris having the job. I don't really have any positive or negative feelings about Tyler Watts having the job over John Parker Wilson. Obviously, John Parker has stepped into other business adventures, and we hope that he's doing well with that. But with Christian Miller, I loved him. I thought Christian did a great job on sideline duties. And we've had Christian on the show once before. We hope to have him on in the future. But I love Christian Miller on with sideline duties, and I don't know if he was just too busy for it this year, or if they saw an opportunity to have Damian Harris just recently retired from the NFL. Obviously, his time with the Patriots and the Bills, I believe he retired this offseason. So I don't know if they just saw a chance to mix it up or not. But we're moving into the Damian Harris direction on the sidelines. Makes me a little disappointed just from a personal standpoint, but we'll see how Damian does. I'm sure he will do well on Crimson Tide Sports Network, and I'm sure you guys will enjoy listening to all of their coverage on Saturday. So mark your calendars, new date, new time for Hey Coach. You're going from Thursdays to Wednesdays. You're going up by a half an hour. It's going to be 6 to 7:30 instead of 6:30 to 8. That'll be on Wednesdays. The first one next Wednesday, but it'll be August 28th before Kalen DeBoer and his first student athlete is on the show. Will his first student athlete, will it be Jalen Milroe? Will it be Malachi Moore? Or will it be Tyler Booker? You guys can let me know your thoughts, but I think it'll obviously be one of those three going to Baumhauer's with Kalen DeBoer on August 28th. That'll be game week. So disappointed about some of the changes, but some of the other changes are just details and logistics, and that's just the way that life is, always changing details and logistics. Let's move into another big picture topic before we dive into really Alabama specific football fall camp topics. It was reported yesterday by several different media outlets that the SEC is meeting next week and part of one of the aspects, one of the line items in their meeting is going to be addressing injuries. And you guys are all familiar with this. If you are watching the NFL, you know so-and-so, Billy Bob is active, Billy Bob is questionable, Billy Bob is probable. I think probable is now not one of the distinctions. Probable is questionable. You got several doubtful. You got several different injury designations in the NFL that will basically serve as extra information for the gamblers. And you've seen several NFL teams over the last handful of years get in trouble if so-and-so has a surprise injury or a surprise illness, didn't report it properly on the game sheet. Teams can get fined for that. But basically it just serves for the gamblers to make educated opinions. If Billy Bob is the starting left tackle and he's not going to be playing this week, and the opposing team has really great defensive end, might change the line, might change the outcome. And so all this to say, the SEC is meeting next week, and Greg Sankey essentially says to not expect a decision to be made. We're going to be having a discussion about student-athlete availability. Members of our staff have been working on this project since last summer. I referenced some considerations that we would have. This doesn't mean there's going to be a decision. In fact, you should not expect a decision, but you should expect a discussion. So next week, the SEC and the commissioner will take up, there are going to be further continuations about that topic, further continued conversations from the spring meeting. It seems like the SEC is very close to implementing injury designations for the 2024 season. Do I care about it? Not really, but it does maybe help my job. Yeah, sure. It does absolutely probably help my job. You're going to see guys get added to the injury report. I'm sure there's going to be specific days. I know in the NFL they have the injury report basically every single day, but I'm sure in college football or SEC it's going to be a little bit different. But basically, the SEC is your next best league outside of the NFL, and so they're always trying to get you ready for the NFL here in the SEC. I think that this is a change that will happen very, very soon, will not affect anything, but it will just give your gambling buddies a little more information to work with as they're trying to decide if they're going to bet Alabama and the points or take the other team. So that should be something that you should expect to see in the very near future. Injury designations and obviously, hey, coach, next week. What did we see yesterday? We were over at the Malmore Center in the Hank Crisp Indoor Facility for all of, it was a while actually, about 30 minutes, 30 minutes or so. We got about 15 to 20 minutes of practice viewing, and then we also had our time after the practice to talk to, yesterday was offensive players, so I talked to, we did Nick Sheridan, and I did Jeremy Bernard. But yesterday was fun because yesterday we were all in the Hank Crisp Indoor Facility, which makes everything that much tighter. There was no weather. It was not really a reason for it weather-wise, but we were told that it was kind of just something that the players wanted to, not the players, but so something that the program felt, so the coach DeBoer felt was important to, one, mix up the practice fields. One, they wanted to give some of the practice fields a little bit of a rest through the early days of camp. Obviously, they've got to last you all the way through, ideally, the end of December, but at least the end of November. So you got to make sure you are properly spacing out your time on these practice fields. So that was one thing, wanted to move it indoors. But secondly, I think that Coach DeBoer wanted to just kind of give the players a little bit of a different look. And so they're in the indoor for a while, the first little bit of practice, and then they moved back outside. And by the time we got back down into the facility, they were wrapping up outside. Indoor practice, we also had full pads yesterday for the first time. Obviously, we have been wearing helmets and shoulder pads for the majority of the time that we've been out there. But yesterday, we get to see the guys in actual football pants for the first time. Obviously, that doesn't change much, but it gets you a little bit closer. And what I think that it actually does is signify the end of the ramp-up period. And the end of the ramp-up period into Saturday's scrimmage, because Saturday's scrimmage, I think, is the first big check mark, the first big, first big check mark for fall camp. I think a lot of what you have read so far through the first, 6 days, we've had 6 days of practice viewing. Today was practice number 7. We weren't allowed to be out there today. Obviously, there's a schedule, and that's how it fell, and that's A-okay. But we won't be back out there to watch a practice until Sunday's Fan Day. We'll be there at Sunday's Fan Day, and then I believe next Tuesday is the next practice viewing. We have next Tuesday, and then we have the Wednesday after that. So we're almost done looking at practice, which is a little sad just from a personal standpoint, but it's much more than what we have had the last couple of years under Nick Saban. But what they have given us, I think, is a little bit strategic. And good on you, Coach DeBoer. Well done. You satisfied a lot of different things right here in these first couple of weeks. You gave the media, you gave us practice access for the first really 2 weeks of practice. We've been to 6 so far. We will finish at 8, 9 if you include the Fan Day. But well done. You have given the media something to chew on. We've got our pound of flesh. We've got our video clips for the next couple of weeks until game week obviously happens. But you've given the media a welcome in. This is what we're doing. Welcome to fall camp. We're all excited for fall camp. Great. We have also slowly ramped up our team. We're ramping up our team. We have, 23 days until Alabama kicks off against Western Kentucky. But we haven't been in full pads yet until yesterday. You haven't been in full pads the first 5 days of camp. And so 5 of the 6 days we have shown the media has been mostly fundamental drill work, has been a little bit of teaching here off to the side in certain position rooms and certain position groups as they break off. A little bit of teaching, but mostly fundamental work. but we've shown, okay, we've got everybody feeling good. But really what we've seen this last week has been you've got a lot of takes out there. Oh, Ryan Williams looks so good. Look at this one-handed catch that's circling around social media. And yes, the one-handed catch was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But you get people going off, oh, man, Ryan Williams, he's impressing early at camp. The biggest reason I'm hesitant to make big takes is that we are seeing such a small picture of practice. We talked about it, what was it, on the Monday show, where we had been to, 4 or 5 practices already, and we had seen 20 minutes for each of the practices. But it's such a small picture. Imagine looking at a puzzle or putting a corner together on your next puzzle and saying, okay, this is what the picture is, but not even putting anything else together, the rest of the puzzle, the rest of the 3/4 of the puzzle, right? Not even putting any other pieces together because you don't even know what they look like. You have heard what they look like. People have told you what the other 3/4 of the puzzle looks like, but you haven't seen it yourself. And so, okay, that's what makes me a little bit hesitant to make big definitive statements. I say that all that to say is, since yesterday was in full pads, and then obviously today, Thursday, they're going to be in full pads again. They're already finished up this morning practice. They're going to be at practice tomorrow, Friday. We're going to have a scrimmage on Saturday in Bryant-Denny Stadium. What I think is that Kalen DeBoer has opened up practice to the media, invited everyone in, gotten the excitement going, all during a period that I won't say doesn't matter, because that's not true. Everything matters. But during a period that essentially is hey, guys, welcome back in from summer camp. Hey, guys, welcome back to football. Obviously, it's going to be physical, but it's not going to be as physical as it'll be in 23 days in Bryant-Denny Stadium against Western Kentucky. It's not going to be as physical as it'll be, September 28th against the Georgia Bulldogs. We are easing into this. If you all played high school football, they call it the acclimation period. Oh, you can't do full contact because you got to go through the acclimation period. Make sure everybody is acclimated to the heat and acclimating to the equipment. Everybody has the right equipment on. Everybody's feeling comfortable. What we just got to see was media availability for 5-6 days during the acclimation period. And so, of course, the coaches are teaching. Yes, they are. You could see that pretty much every single day. It was a concept on display in each of these position groups, right? But most of it was fundamental drill work. This is how we move our bodies when we play this game. We haven't played this game since last January, obviously spring practice, but you haven't played this game. What was spring practice? March, April, right? So it's been 4 months or so since spring ball. We got to get back in the swing of things. Remember how to ride the bike. I don't know that what we saw over the last week was very valuable in terms of what we will see when Western Kentucky comes into Tuscaloosa. I think the next 2 practice periods that we're allowed to see, Thursdays and next Tuesday and the Wednesday after that, I think are going to give you are going to be a little more valuable than what we saw over the last 4 or 5 days. And really, I think that strategically, Kalen DeBoer knows that. So you push the media, we invite you in, 4, 5, 6 practices early in the year. Great. And then it ramps way back when the important work, when the decisions are starting to be made. Right now, we've been kind of dancing around several decisions. We've been dancing around, the biggest decision that we've been dancing around is what will happen at left and right tackle. Pretty much everybody is in agreement that 3 players are in contention. 3 players are in contention for 2 spots. You got Caden Proctor, you got Wilkin Formby, and you have Elijah Pritchett. And the 3 players all have, really 2 of those players have experience. Wilkin Formby has not really had a whole lot of experience thus far, at least none in critical action, but some to speak of. But Elijah Pritchett last year and Caden Proctor spent the first part of the season really battling for that left tackle spot until Caden Proctor beats him out. Great. Awesome. Caden Proctor transfers to Iowa. Everybody says, oh gosh, okay, here's Elijah Pritchett, your chance to play left tackle. Looking for him, he's going to be the right tackle. Okay, we'll just make it work. Oh, Caden Proctor transfers back from Iowa to Alabama. And so now are you dealing with a little bit of not embarrassment of riches, but a little bit of wealthy. You're a little wealthy at the tackle position at this point, and so it's not a bad problem to have. But it seems like through the first 5-6 days of camp, and at least yesterday when we were out there, we saw the first offensive line was Caden Proctor, Tyler Booker, Parker Brailsford, Jaden Roberts, and Wilkin Formby from left to right. And that had been the case on what was that, the Tuesday as well, on the Tuesday as well. And so you're starting to see the offensive line seeming to look like, okay, you're starting to get a first five in order. And that makes me think that Elijah Pritchett is basically that next man up. Elijah Pritchett is essentially more or less the backup left tackle and more or less the backup right tackle. Will Elijah Pritchett end up taking Wilkin Formby's job at right tackle? I don't think he will. I don't think he will at this point. I think that people think it's so easy because they play Madden and they play now the NCAA game where you can just pop a tackle from left to right. And it is a little easier at the guard position, but basically it's like riding a bike opposite way, right? Pedaling with your hands and driving with your feet. Or backpedaling to go forward and you remember the brake, the built-in brake. It's like reverse of that, going from left to right. I think that not to say that the Alabama coaching staff has screwed Elijah Pritchett. I don't think that at all. But I think that his reps at left tackle that he got in spring practice were good enough to say, oh, we need to see how he does here. Obviously, you got to play somebody at left tackle with Caden Proctor being gone at Iowa. I think it created a little bit of a problem for the Alabama offensive line, a problem that's getting sorted out now, but now kind of falling at Elijah Pritchett's feet. It looks to me from the outside perspective that Wilkin Formby got a lot of reps at right tackle during spring practice and performed well at it, got comfortable with it. Now Caden Proctor has come back from Iowa, and while you don't hand him the starting role, no, you don't, I think that it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that he's a better tackle than Elijah Pritchett. And so, okay, he wins the job at left tackle. Wilkin's gotten comfortable at right tackle. You're comfortable with what he can do there. He's gotten some chemistry now with Jaden Roberts, and Elijah Pritchett is the one that's left out in the cold. Now, is that a horrible thing? Nah, it's not a horrible thing, but I think that's how it's playing out as we currently stand. Now, can that change over the next 23 days? Yes. And can that change as you get into the season? Absolutely. We saw a couple offensive line changes during the year last year, whether it be because of injury or because of poor play. And so whatever it is today on Thursday, August 8th, it can be different tomorrow, and it can be different on September 28th against the Georgia Bulldogs, and even more different late in November against the Auburn Tigers. So that's really what your biggest question is right now still with this team is the offensive line. Who's going to be playing? Who's going to be the first five on the offensive line? I think that you're seeing a lot of positive things on the defensive side of the ball. Your only real questions remaining are, when will Xavier Brown take Deshaun Jones' starting position? That seems to be what it is right now, at least through the early days of camp. And what we have heard, what we've been whispered, and what we've been given in some of these press conferences is just how much Xavier Brown is impressing. And if you've been reading some of the news, you can read it at BamaCentral.com. But it's Xavier Brown with one hand. Xavier Brown has got a little club or a wrap on his hand over the last 2 days in practice, but has still been participating. And you saw him during Alabama spring game play very well for a freshman. I think it's just a matter of time for that young man before he takes a starting job. And it seems like it's going to be Deshaun Jones' starting job. Not that Deshaun is locked in or that he's bad by any means, but it just seems like Xavier Brown is going to be on the field, is going to carve himself out a role on this team. And it seems like Damani Jackson is another player pretty much locked into a starting role. So that's why I say Deshaun Jones starting position. And so it's Xavier Brown, Damani Jackson kind of shoring up that back end. I don't have a whole lot of questions on the defensive side. It seems like everything has been simplified from the front to the back on the defensive side of the ball. We've talked about the pattern matching coverage and what Malachi Moore has talked about, vision coverage. the change to vision coverage. And I think that we've talked about it before. I think that will make for better coverage on the back end and make for more turnovers on the back end. I'm excited about this defense. My biggest question still goes back to, I think I said it a couple days ago, maybe last week, is about Quandarius Robinson. And it is about who's playing the Wolf position. Are you getting adequate edge rush pressure after Alabama has been spoiled from its edge rushers over the last 2 years, really 3 years, with Will Anderson and Dallas Turner and Chris Braswell as well mixing in. So will Quandarius Robinson pick right up in the void left by Dallas Turner and Chris Braswell? Everything we've heard over the last we talked to Kane Womack on Tuesday, and basically Kane Womack was confident in Keanu Coate and Quandarius Robinson. So I don't really have a whole lot of questions as far as personnel goes at this point. What I'm wondering is how quickly it's coming along. How quickly, does everybody have everything under their belt? Is everything second nature? Is the playbook second nature? Is everybody playing at 100 miles an hour at full speed because it's come so quick, because it's come along at an adequate rate? And we're not going to know that until week 1. We're not going to know that until 23 days from now. Well, how deep was the playbook? Well, did Alabama execute everything it wanted to do at a high level? How many miscommunications did you have up front along the offensive line? How many miscommunications do you have on the back end as far as coverage goes? Do you have any miscommunications up front defensively about who fills what gap? Those are questions that won't be answered until there's live football, and that's my biggest question with this new staff is how quickly and how effective are they at teaching the new scheme and getting it drilled into the players and having it translate onto the field at a high level. So that's something we won't know for another 23 days. One thing that was fun on Wednesday was we're hanging around waiting on offense. We're waiting on Nick Sheridan, waiting on Jeremy Bernard. We talked to a lot of the offensive players. We talked to Jam Miller and CJ Dupree. Those conversations can be found on the Bama Central YouTube channel. We encourage you guys to subscribe to the Bama Central YouTube channel for all of those interviews. But we're hanging around there on Wednesday, and all we hear in the background, in the background, over and over and over. And it turns out Coach Kalen DeBoer brings an ice cream truck up to the facility, and he's playing, ice cream tunes out of an ice cream truck. The players, like we've talked about the heat in the early morning, he brought an ice cream truck out to serve the players, whether it be chocolate sundaes or ice cream sandwiches or whatever the case may be, on the ice cream truck to serve the teams. And what is this? I mean, I'm sure that some people read that on Wednesday and rolled their eyes. Oh, man, Coach Saban would never. Oh, man, back in my day, they wouldn't even give us water. XYZ, ABC. Coach Brent Bryant probably rolling over in his grave. Stop. Because I think that's so fun. I think that's a blast. I think that's awesome. You bring an ice cream truck to practice. And, of course, like everybody's obviously got to maintain their nutrition. But you've just worked 2.5 hours out there in the heat. Obviously, we talked about the first part was in the indoor facility. But you've been out there in the heat for a couple hours at this point and however many days at this point. I think the ice cream truck is awesome. And yes, Wendell Hare comments, new coach, new era, new goals is what I see. I think the ice cream, now look, it's not like they're serving ice cream after every practice. That was the 6th practice we had been at, and that was the 6th practice of the fall camp. And so it's like, oh, here's your little treat after 5-6 practices. I don't want anybody to read into it and say, oh, gosh, he's babying the players. No, they're not babying. I thought it was a great treat, especially with a scrimmage coming up and especially to kind of mark the first day in pads. To me, goes back to what we were saying early in the program. First 5 days without full pads were just an acclimation period. So now you get the leg pads on, you get the thigh pads and the knee pads on. So you're going to, you got through it, you practice hard. Here's your reward. Exactly. My man Wendell commenting once again on Facebook, and you can as well on the Facebook machine. Good practices equal good rewards. Come on. I think that's a great reward. You get your little chocolate sundae walking off, and you continue your day, especially because the guys are getting ready to start back in classes, next week, I believe. So it's going to be here before you know it. Summer's almost over. You got to soak up these last few days of summer. I thought it was awesome. But Coach DeBoer, come on, let us sneak in. Give me an ice cream cone as well. That'd be a lot of fun. That'd be the only way to make it even better. Or for me, is for me to get myself. Oh, shoot. I love ice cream. I love all flavors, really, of ice cream. So I got a big kick out of that. And the players seem to as well. Jeremy Bernard saying, oh, Coach has done that. Coach did that at Washington, bringing ice cream trucks, bringing food trucks, bringing all kinds of treats after practice periodically. And I think that's great. If the guys know there's a carrot out there, they're going to be running for it and trying to. I think it just, once again, refreshes the program, reinvigorates the program. I think that you have re-energized basically everyone from top to bottom in the Alabama football program, and the ice cream truck is just another little semblance of that. We had another topic or two before we get out of here on the day. Before we do get into the rest of the topics, I got two. Looking on my notes, I think I've got two more on my notes. But before we get into the rest of the topics, I want to thank my friend Derek Daniel, State Farm Insurance. You can find Derek Daniel right on Highway 69 North, 4604. I just had it. Yeah, 4604 Highway 69 North, right up there, just off McFarland Boulevard, right past the Tiger Rock, right there up on the left. You can call him at 205-758-3391. Everybody needs insurance. Everybody doesn't like to deal with insurance, but Derek Daniel makes dealing with insurance pretty easy. All you got to do is give him a call. Once again, 205-758-3391. He's going to make it very, very simple for you. He's going to get right to the bottom line. Look, I don't like wasting time on my phone calls. I don't like beating around the bush. He's going to get right to it. What do you need? Oh, I need an auto insurance quote. Oh, sweet. I can do that. What's the make? What's the model? And let's get you started. They can get you an auto insurance quote very, very quickly. A great competitive rate with basically every company that's out there right now. You need to make sure that you're properly insured, especially on these crazy roads. I just said it. School's getting started back UA in about 2 weeks. I know Rush is getting started basically right now for all those young ladies from across the country. You want to make sure that you're properly insured going down 15th Street, going down McFarland, or if you're anywhere in the great state of Alabama, you can call Derek Daniel at 205-758-3391. They're going to get you a fast quote. They're going to get you a competitive quote, and they're going to make sure that you are properly insured with the proper coverage. That's very, very important. You want to make sure that you are properly insured. You don't want to just have liability if you need comprehensive and collision as well. So you want to make sure that you understand what each line item is for your insurance for when you get it in the mail, or if you get it on your through your email, whatever your bill is. You want to make sure you understand it, and Derek Daniel and his team can take care of you and help you do that. Call Red, call Reese, call Victoria at 205-758-3391. That's Derek Daniel, State Farm Insurance. All right, I got two more topics for the day. And really, I've got Scrimmage on Saturday, and I've got Lank documentary written down. We want to thank Wendell Hare for jumping in on the comment section. You guys can do that as well on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube at JoeGaither6. If you want to comment on anything I have already said, or you want to throw in anything to talk about down the line. We're going to talk about the scrimmage on Saturday because I think that is our first big red flag, big marker, big check mark. You've got what you had yesterday. The players were in full pads yesterday and obviously spent some time in the Hank Crisp indoor facility and then back outside. Today, outside, full pads, back at it, full practice. Friday, big practice, full pads, back at it. I think this is kind of like the first little simulation of fall camp. You got through last week, last Wednesday, Thursday, we were out there. Great to be there. Saturday, Sunday, great to be there. And then one more kind of, okay, here it comes day on Tuesday. And now here we go. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We have now ramped up and simulated a game week. We are getting ready for that game week against Western Kentucky, 23 days away. And so we want to see, right? We gave you the Monday off. Basically, it's a meetings day. It's a simulated Sunday, Monday for the season, right? Where we are watching film, we're installing concepts. Obviously, we're not installing concepts for game week on this particular Saturday, but we are still installing concepts for the season. We're still installing our cover 3, our cover 2, our cover 1. We're installing cover 6. We're installing whatever concepts we want to be installing at this period during this point during fall camp on Monday. And now we're coming out on Tuesday. We want to see if you can take the Monday meetings, right? Can you take the Monday meetings out onto the field? And now on Wednesday, you've been acclimating to the heat. You've been acclimating to the physicality. You now know the drills. You know the order of practice. You know what's expected of you when the whistle blows and when the coach says left, you go left. You know the order now. Now we're in full pads. Wednesday, we're having some physicality. Some guys are going to the ground. We're actually having a tackle or two. A couple live periods of real football. I think you're simulating a game week right here. And so Saturday, you want to see the guys respond to that simulation. You want to see the guys respond to the simulation on Saturday with an efficient practice. Now, look, will mistakes happen? Yes, they will. Mistakes will happen on Saturday, but that's exactly what you want to see. You want mistakes to happen. You want mistakes to happen to be of the extra effort. You want holding calls. Maybe if you want to be dealing with false starts, right? We want to be dealing with false starts, ironing those out. We want to be dealing with offside penalties. We want to be dealing with pass interference penalties. That's what you want to be dealing with. You don't want to be dealing with mental errors, 2 guys blocking the same guy, right? We don't want to be leaving busts in the secondary. Now, those will happen on Saturday. They will. It's no problem. You're going to have a bust in the secondary. Jalen Milroe is going to drop one deep to my man Ryan Williams on Saturday. And everybody's going to ooh and ah. You're going to hear, oh, Ryan Williams catches deep touchdown pass over whoever. Name your cornerback. You're going to have a mistake on Saturday. But that's okay. Exactly like Wendell says, mistakes create coaching points. You want to know who knows what right now. Right? Like I said, you got 23 days until you play against Western Kentucky. It's okay not to know everything, but you need to know who's actually picking it up and who's falling behind. If the player's falling behind, you can deal with that, but are you staying in the ballpark, right? Do you know most of what we've taught over the last week and a half? Have you studied your playbook at all during summer, right? Or are you just completely lost? Did you miss the exit and you don't know your way to the stadium? That's what you want to find out on Saturday. Who's in the ballpark? Who is playing with great effort? Who do you need to maybe kick in the pants a little bit on game day to step it up? And who just doesn't know the calls at all? Who doesn't know where to line up? Who doesn't know their assignment at all? That's what you're going to find out. And Saturday is a huge day for that. I'm excited about what we will hear from Kalen DeBoer on Saturday. I expect you're going to hear from the podium how great everything was. And, we've got a few things to clean up on tape, but we're right where we want to be. I think that's what you will hear from the podium on Saturday. Now, does that mean that's exactly what the truth is inside the stadium? No. I think that there will obviously be things to clean up. I think some of those things to clean up will be offensive line blocking assignments. That's okay. It's no problem. The issue is you just don't want to have just everyone looking around. Everyone looking, coach calls a play call, it comes in, and only one guy on the field is directing all the traffic. You want to have somebody, and offensively, I don't think you're going to have that. Offensively, you got a guy in basically every room. Now, Austin Booker's not going to be out there on the field to help Jalen Milroe, but Jalen Milroe will be able to lean on Parker Brailsford, will be able to lean on Josh Cuevas and Jeremy Bernard, and those 3 guys will be in the huddle, and those 3 guys will be able to turn to their group and be like, hey, this is the concept. This is what we're running. You're going here. I'm going there. Let's go. Defensively might be a little bit more of a challenge. And that's where you're going to be really leaning on guys like Tim Smith, like Deontay Lawson, like Malachi Moore. Right through the middle of your defense, you've got the leaders at every level. And so it's going to be really important on Saturday to see how these leaders get everyone lined up. And, of course, you get a missed tackle, that's just what it's going to be. You still got to acclimate to actually tackling, to actually blocking, to actually shedding blocks, getting off blocks. And those are things that coaches will want to see. But you want to find out on Saturday, okay, are we, what will that be, 3 days from now? Are we really 20 days away Are we really feeling good about ourselves 20 days away from that Western Kentucky kickoff game? And so I think that it sounds like, if you take everything that you have heard over the last week as absolute truth, then it sounds like the guys are right on track. We'll find out more. We'll be looking for any cracks in any of the dialogue on Saturday from Coach Kalen DeBoer. And, of course, you can follow that on the Bama Central YouTube channel or right there on Alabama Crimson Tide on Sports Illustrated, powered by Bama Central on your web browsers, as we will be all over this Saturday scrimmage. Last thing for the day, I just finished the Lank documentary. I watched it before the show. I had it on my note sheet. I said, well, I need to watch it before I talk about it. So I watched the Lank documentary, Terry and Arnold, Jalen Milroe. You've got Walt Brock basically organized the documentary. You had lots of guys in it. Courtney Morgan was in it. You had Nick Saban was in it. So you had lots of guys and support staff members were in it, talking about really the Lank movement from last year. And it was great. 25 minutes. All you do into YouTube, Lank documentary. It'll be the first thing that pops up. If you want to get even crazier, you can go to the Alabama football YouTube channel, their official YouTube channel. It's right there. Easy to find. 25 minutes of hearing Jalen Milroe and Terry and Arnold talking about really their origination of the Lank motto and really how Coach Saban helped them to come up with the motto and to adopt it as a team. And then it was interesting to me. I like money. It was very interesting to me to hear how they took it from, hey, this is just our team motto, into, oh, we're going to turn this into some money, some NIL money. We're going to make this profitable for us on and off the field. And look, I'm super proud of them. Just as an observer, I think it's very cool as an observer. Do I own any Lank merchandise? I don't, sadly. Sorry, Terry on. Sorry, Jalen Milroe. I haven't bought Alabama merchandise in, oh my gosh, 10 years or so, roughly. But I think it's very awesome. And I think that if I were to be buying something in the future, it would probably be a Lank shirt with a name and number on the back. My next favorite player or so. But I think the concept was great, and the documentary was really well done. It was interesting to me to see how the team really, like I said, took the Lank concept from the offseason in through the Texas game, in through the West, into the USF game, South Florida game, and then it really got things rolling and took off to the Ole Miss game, and then culminating after that Georgia SEC championship. And it's been cool to see how the other Alabama athletic departments have used Lank, and really to see how Jalen Milroe and Terry and Arnold have taken their little baby idea and turned it into just something of a concept, a movement, and also really a business idea. It sounds like they have made themselves quite a pretty penny off the Lank merchandise and off the Lank branding, and that's great. That's exactly what NIL is supposed to be for, as Nick Saban said in the documentary. So proud of those guys. That was a cool little 25 minutes of my time. I encourage you guys, if you're on YouTube, just pop it in Lank documentary. It'll be 25 minutes of your time. You will get to know a couple of people from the new coaching staff in the new department, and obviously see a bunch of fresh faces and familiar faces from the Coach Saban regime as well. We're going to get out of here for the day, and as we do that, we want to thank our friends Purple Turtle Roofing once again for sponsoring the program. They are the #1 residential roof replacement company in Alabama and Mississippi. Whether it's addressing leaks, storm damage, or general wear and tear, Purple Turtle Roofing is going to be there to deliver exceptional roof repair for your property. Purple Turtle Roofing is the leading expert in local residential roofing solutions, specializing in providing unparalleled service and quality craftsmanship for all your roof replacement needs. Call Dustin Foley and his team today at 877-PT-ROOF-5 for your free roof inspection. That's 877-787-6635, or visit them online at roofturtle.com. Give them a call, schedule your free roof inspection. One of their qualified employees is going to come out. They're going to check out your roof. They're going to let you know what you need to make sure that you are up to date. Look, we've had a lot of storms in Alabama and West Alabama over the last week or so. So you want to make sure that your roof, one, handle the storm, and two, will be prepared for the next storm. So call them today, 877-787-6635. Dustin Foley or one of his team is going to come out there. They'll look at your roof. They'll let you know if you're up to date. They'll let you know if you got any any problems, and they'll let you know how to go about replacing your roof. That's Purple Turtle Roofing. Visit them online at www.roofturtle.com. I appreciate everybody who's watched us on the Bama Central YouTube channel. A lot of you have watched us on the YouTube channel very recently. Obviously, the practice coverage helping that. You can subscribe to the Bama Central YouTube channel. We are almost a little under 150 from 5,000. So I appreciate you guys who have joined us this week as we've started covering fall camp. We appreciate everybody who's followed us on our social media machines at Joe Gaither 6 on whatever you like to use: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, every social media machine you can think of. It is at Joe Gaither 6 if you want to connect with me there. And obviously, we encourage you or invite you to subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon. The Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. We'll be back tomorrow for another edition and to round out the week right here on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com.
Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Keep up with Joe on all his social media pages at Joe Gaither 6. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to read us daily at BamaCentral.com.